Breton wrote the theory, Dali sold the image. Carrington was the proof that women were still alive within this dreamscape, and Lam is the reminder to us that surrealism's look at the unconscious isn't just white, male, and Eurocentric. It's a lot more universal. Before we get into the artist, let's talk about Andre Breton a little bit more. He invented this manifesto and then spent 40 years deciding who should be able to use it. He didn't just theorize that these things were true, he tried to run actual scientific studies. He was elitist in his approach, trying to protect his work, which meant that he used small groups of people, almost like a club with membership rules. He even formally expelled some of our most loved surrealist artists like Salvador Dali. And people had anointed him with a half-joking title, the Pope of Surrealism. Surrealism had been kind of just a vibe that was existing within Paris in the 1920s, and what Breton brought to it was some sort of testable claim. His theories eventually spread to not just paintings, but film, photography, and advertising, because it was never about a specific visual style, it was about cracking the code of the subconscious. Dali joined the Surrealist movement in 1929, approximately 5 years after its fledgling manifesto was built. He became almost overnight the most influential and definitely the most recognizable artist of the Surrealist movement. Dali was introduced to this movement by Catalan Joan Miró. One of his most famous paintings, The Persistence of Memory, was actually inspired by a melting wheel of camembert. He described it as melting within his mind until it formed into the clock, and they dripped over this barren dreamscape within his psyche. He was also sympathetic to France's fascist movement at the time, which is ultimately what got him kicked out of Breton's club. But by then, Dali was already a public surrealist figure, so it didn't really hinder him in any way or ruin his reputation. Dali was really important to the movement, not just because he became one of the most famous, it's because he really proved that imagery didn't have to look like a particular thing. At the time, everybody was trying to dig into the subconscious mind by doing these automatic writings and drawings, which looked really loose and loopy and didn't necessarily have a lot of structure. And Dali tried to bring that almost hyper-realistic quality to something that was definitely fantastical, and to prove that these dreamlike qualities could be rendered with perfect precision, and that it would allow people to see into the worlds wanted to live in through his hallucinogenic practices. Dali may have made surrealism famous, but Carrington made it real and eventually paid for it.